Hey, what up, YouTube? MTG Moxman here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. Got the fresh Mox haircut. Feeling good. Nice weekend. Weather's warming up here in Canada. I must say it's pretty nice. Now, I have secrets to tell you today, guys. The tinfoil hat has come on, and I've been seeing in my mind very strange things. I happened to get a chance in the last several days to visit several local LGSs. Some here in Toronto, some not here in Toronto, some not even up north where I normally would go, but just a few places. And what I found was very interesting. I thought I would share it with everyone today. I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's been videos from people like Alpha Investments, a few of their guys out there who have been talking about how vintage legacy, kind of dying, right? But when I'm visiting other stores and taking stock of inventory and looking to see what they have available to buy, okay? I'm not just looking for the oldest stuff like, Lotuses and stuff, A lot of eye candy is meant to stay in the stores. They actually don't intend on selling it, and they price it sometimes a little bit high. That's purposely because they want it for people to look at and enjoy, like artwork, which is amazing. It is very nice. Like, I know when people like looking at my old stuff, it's very cool when I pull a video out and show some of the old goodies in the bag. But it's not everything. Vintage and Legacy cover a wider range of cards. Everything from Legends, Antiquities, The Dark, all the way up through the Sagas, right? Of some very, very iconic cards. And some still, even to this day, considered overpowered. Although, slowly Magic is ramping up to the point where those cards are not as important as they used to be. I'll get to that. All right, boys and girls, here's where it gets to the nitty-gritty. Those stores didn't have that much. Listen to what I'm telling you. Oh, and if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe right now. I need more subscribers. A lot more. This took a lot of time. Let's hope it pays off a little bit. And thank you to my regular viewers. Of course, you guys rock as always. So what I'm trying to tell you is, out of the 15 different stores I visited, 15 in the last 2 days, I know I wasn't hunting for cards. I was hunting for a little research for this. I didn't want to go on TCG Player. I didn't want to go on eBay. Which, by the way, a lot of those stores are actually connected to local LGSs. They may have their own online businesses and use other platforms to move certain cards, especially lower-end bulk products. So, on viewing this, I noticed there wasn't that much. It's not what I've been hearing. There may not be as many people playing it because it is expensive to play. But what's the difference of going for a full art land that costs $120 or a Taiaga that you can get for $140? What's that difference? Nothing. They've told you there's a difference. Somebody has let us know. Why do you think that is? Let's use another example. Collector's editions. 5,000 made of most sets of them. There's international and regular edition of the collector edition, which has Power of 9, dual lands, all the goodies from back in the day. But there was only like 5,000 sets printed for each edition of it. A few extras were made near the end. But early on, they said they couldn't be played in tournaments because of the squared corners. And there was no sleeves back then, really, other than penny sleeves. Nowadays, of course, they could change that rule to add more stock to the fire. They choose not to. They don't have to. It's not in their best interest because Wizards doesn't make any money on that. But it's funny how the cards are still worth good money. People still want it. But isn't it funny that there's not a lot out there in the stores? Okay, hold on. Let's go to another one. Cards from Legends. Say, Eureka. Even the original Elder Dragons and such. Those aren't even... It's funny how there's not much out there. Arabian Nights, Singing Tree, Ring of Maruf, Library of Alexandria, Diamond Valley, Elephant Graveyard even. It's funny there's not a lot out there. Most stores didn't have any. So what if I told you? What if I gave you the idea that maybe a very small amount of people have already collected most of these cards up? Most, not all, most. They've collected them over the years. Just like any market, you can force a stock market lower. You can force card prices lower. by just saying nothing's selling. And going through certain channels and estimates to say, hey, it's not worth anything. Nobody's playing it, nobody, Okay. And that will work to a point. But then there's old people like me who say, hey, I don't care if it's worth anything. I'm going to keep it. Okay. But at the same time, there's not much out there, but I didn't see any really for sale. And I didn't really see anybody playing it in the stores. I saw 2 guys at one point playing with some old stuff, mainly dual lands, fork, stuff like that, twin cast, But there wasn't that much out there. The stores didn't have a lot, any of them. The odd, couple dual lands here and there, but you need like 20 dual lands to get a set, right? You kind of want 4 of each and stuff. But there was nothing there. So where are they? Where'd they all go? If they're not sitting on a store shelf somewhere, where are they? Maybe some store has a whole bunch. Maybe they consolidated and collected them up. That very well could be. And they're the ones keeping that price high. Because they're the ones who want to make a buck off it after they've bought it at a certain price point. Sure. But I'm really starting to believe that somebody set these prices, some big company, big store, and they're just sitting on it. Just sitting on it. And now here's the second part when I said I'd get back to this. We just had Modern Horizons come out. We have standard products coming out, collector boxes. There is nothing. Listen to me, guys. Again, hopefully you watched the video to this point. There is nothing out there stopping Wizards from making a vintage set, a legacy set. There's nothing stopping them. They can't repeat the same cards, but they could put in cards of extreme power and say it's vintage only, it's legacy only. They did it with Modern Horizons. They've done some reprint equity in older sets, but what happens if they made a set? Picture, just, yourselves, picture what I'm going to tell you. Just picture this for yourselves. They do a set. Maybe not, they can't repeat dual lands because they said they're never going to repeat it. But they have something close to a dual land. Better than a shock, right? Comes into play and you take 1 damage. Or it comes into play tapped unless you have another land in play. Something like that to get it going. So it has a little bit of a drawback, but so slight, so minuscule. Maybe they can't recreate Moxes, but they could create a different type of Mox in. Maybe a Mox that costs 1, but it still taps for a mana. They could create these sets anytime they want without breaking their own reserve list rules and revive all these old cards. And who says they're not already doing it? They have lots of big eggheads out there, guys, who are planning this kind of stuff. Look how great some of these sets have gone lately. They may not be producing it and creating it at the moment, but it is on the blackboard drawing board somewhere because these cards are not out in the market. I haven't seen them. You can see some stuff on eBay, but think about how many thousands are out there. There are not thousands on eBay. Somebody's got them. They're sitting on somebody's shelf. They're sitting in a store. Some got destroyed, but they're out there. So I thought it was just very, very interesting in the time I went to view all these places so I could report back to you on what I thought was happening in Vintage and Legacy. As a Vintage player, as a my Vintage or Legacy, guys, I don't know. I have Lotuses and stuff. As that type of player, I'm telling you, it's very odd. Don't you think? Like, odder than normal? If I didn't see any, really, the odd places at a couple of Moxen, place like Face to Face, most places had nothing. 10, 15 dual lands here or there. Some places had nothing. I saw next to nothing for Arabian Nights except for some commons and some binders. Just saying. It's crazy. So when you go to sleep tonight, and think what I've told you. It's a lot of stores I visited. A lot. Some small, some big. A lot of little local places where you think somebody might drop off some collections or cards. And I did talk to only a couple of people because I was on time constraints to drive around. Most people aren't turning anything in, they said, because the buy lists are so low, number one. And a lot of players, he said, well, one store in particular, said there are some Vintage Legacy guys out there who play, but they keep their stuff kind of their own eye candy to show since nobody wants to play it. But there are people who will play those decks for fun sometimes and let other people play proxies. So just something to think about. They could make these sets, guys. Think about a set you could create. I told you about I've done set creations before. Paul's got a set before my computer blew up and I lost everything. But he got a set. There were some good cards in there. Those are just from my little inky head, right? Like, it can happen, guys. So please keep it in mind. Love to see some comments on this, guys. A nice little discussion. And again, let's hopefully drag some new people into the channel to join our discussions with us. But yeah, something's up. And I don't think it's as bad as they say, but I think they're hoping to draw more cards into the market at lower prices and buy them up before prices go back up. It's interesting. All right. Thanks a lot for tuning in. This is MTG Moxman. You guys rock. Hope you had a good one. And there's a few other things we're going to talk about this week. So let's get to it. All right, guys? Thanks again.